We made it.
We made it. So I thought I'd jump on. We would jump on and have a bit of a chat and provide a little bit of an introduction to me, to what I do, and also what Michelle does and who she is, because the both of us are quite in similar situations and similar roles in transforming lives. And I'm eating my hair. So, Michelle, tell me, tell me who you are.
Who am
And
I?
how did you get into what you're doing?
So I'm a manifestation coach and energy practitioner. And so I guide my clients through the process of manifesting a life that they truly desire. So I got into this back in 2000 well, I've been a coach since 2009, but I got into the, hello, David. I got into the healing modality back in 2018 after a psychic told me I was a healer, and I said, no, I'm not. And he said, yes, you are. And I said, no. And then shortly after, I became a healer. So he must have known something I didn't. So, and here I am. So I've sort of built on my skills and expertise since then. And that's what I do.
And so, Michelle, did you always want to be an energy healer?
No, I didn't even know I was one. I just got told. So, but I have always wanted to help people, and that's always been a passion of mine. So it's just been, I guess, an avenue for me to help to actually do things for people. So, recently I helped someone who was having heart troubles, and one session, and he's feeling 1,000 times better, and that brings me so much joy. So situations like that where you're sort of transforming people's lives for the better. So it's a bloody awesome thing. So what about you, Jen? You talk about you
What about
now.
me? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, as you know, my name's Jennifer Lee, and I'm the founder of Uniquely Healing. Also, the reason why I came into this a couple of years ago was because of Michelle. I was her guinea pig, where she started working on me through Emotion Code and releasing my own trapped emotions. And from there, I got curious, and the results that I started to receive for myself just internally was just amazing. Like I was reducing my frustration, my anger, my inability to articulate my feelings. Even I was hot-headed back then, very hot-headed.
Really?
I
I
was
would never have
I was
noticed.
I was far from calm, that's for sure. And like you say, people that you come across that have had, depression and major anxiety and, feeling stuck and feeling like there's nowhere to go. Um, it's amazing to see people how they change and how they shift and they feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, whereas before there was nowhere. Like for me, I was sort of stuck and not going anywhere. And is this it? Is this the life that we have to live? And the answer is no, right? So um, as I evolve and I continue to strive for the perfect wording or the perfect message on how I help people and how I can help people, um, it's quite challenging because we can pretty much help everyone, right? So, but it's the amazing transformations that I've had many. One particular 66-year-old that I have worked with who absolutely hated her mother, and that's only because of her upbringing. Didn't have a relationship with her. Would never. She would obviously see her at times, but never have a real loving relationship with her. And ever since she's worked with me, she now says, I don't have those negative feelings towards my mum anymore. And that's just, and she went through a lot of trauma as a child from her mum. So it's just amazing how you can shift someone's perspective from, hating a family member to being not necessarily maybe in love with them, however, no longer having that negative connotation or negative feeling towards that
Yeah.
parent.
Yeah, and another
Yeah.
big thing with that too is around the forgiveness side of thing. Hey, so we did a lot of work on forgiveness, didn't we, Jen? So
Oh, yes.
of your, in
That's,
particular of yourself. So having made some pretty stupid decisions myself in my life, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this, it's really difficult to really bring up that forgiveness or feel that forgiveness for yourself, for your own mistakes that you've made, or for situations you've allowed yourself to stay in for much too long in many cases. So sort of getting to that point where you do forgive yourself and even the person that you've got the issue with, and getting an understanding of where they're coming from. So it teaches you a little bit more about how to actually put yourself in another person's shoes and to understand why they are the way they are. And it's not necessarily because they're there to purposely bring you down or upset you or attack you or whatever it is. It's because there's something going on inside them that's causing them to be that particular way. So getting that understanding helps a lot.
How one acts is no reflection of us, right?
That's exactly right.
It's a practice to learn, that's for sure. For those who are watching, the plan is to go live every week around 4 o'clock for about 10 15 minutes.
4 o'clock our time.
4 o'clock Brisbane time,
Brisbane
so
time.
Australian Eastern Standard
Time.
So that would be 5 o'clock Sydney time, Melbourne time, Perth. I'm not exactly sure your time zone. Anywhere outside of Australia.
Sorry, Perth guy.
You'll have to work that out. But this can be, we will come up with some topics and we will be seeking some Q&A questions. So right now, does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? Is there anything you want to know about us?
And also too, if you've got anything that you'd like us to talk about in a future episode, that would be really great too. So.
And we could potentially work on a client, particular. We could actually work on someone. Maybe
we could.
I'm not really sure. I mean, we can do it without seeing the. Oh, we could invite.
Yeah, we can
actually. We could invite someone.
That's exciting.
Exciting. Little things, small things. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions before?
Maybe we should do a little spiel about what the emotion code and body code is. Oh, we've got a question here.
Oh, we have a question.
Pineapple, what's your question? Pineapple MP.
This was a preliminary for next week because I wanted to make sure it works.
So no, questions are good. Questions are good. It gives us something to talk about.
I'll just wait for that question to come through. Yeah, the emotion code. So the definition. Oh, hang on. Here we go. My question. Any tips with emotions post-lockdown?
Are you talking about emotions related to the lockdown or
feeling from the lockdown? Doesn't worry about the emotion code. So the emotion code was founded by Dr. Bradley Nelson about 20 odd years ago. We say 20, roughly about 20 odd years ago. He was a
chiropractor.
Chiropractor, that's it. A chiropractor that just one day just started getting random issues with clients, and he started to basically ask. He's a Christian man, so he would ask God and ask for
guidance and help and
guidance, yeah. And eventually he started to hear words and started pulling in what's called the emotion code. So created emotion code. So emotion code is essentially a form of kinesiology where you will communicate with the subconscious. So the subconscious is 99% of your body, and he uses kinesiology as a form to connect. So muscle testing, essentially. So my form of muscle testing is this way. I call it the frog in the. I call it the frog in the hole. I don't know if it's actually. I don't think it's called that, but that's what I call it. So yes means it's a strong, and if it's a weak, it's a no. And so by asking yourself, and he creates, you can actually go on Discover Healing's website, who offer a free kit to learn how to use emotion code, there's actually an app you can actually download. The app, and it's 60 emotions, negative emotions that are in 2 columns, 6 rows, and you can basically say, you know, is there a trapped emotion I can release today? And do I have a trap? So I'll ask the question: is there a trapped emotion I can release today? Oh, and I'm getting, oh, I've got a trapped emotion. Ooh, let's do
How
this.
surprising!
I know, right?
Here's one she prepared earlier.
I didn't think I would have one. Anyway, it turns out I have one today. So then I don't know if you can see, but this is the app. So basically, you have 2 columns, 6 rows, and I would ask, what is the trapped emotion I can release today? And I would go, is it from column A? And I get a no. Is it from column B? Yes. Is it from odd number row? Is it from an even number row? And is it B2, B4, B6? And is it pride, shame, shock, unworthy? Ooh, I have a trapped emotion of worthless to release today. So I am going to release my own trapped emotion.
Please do.
And in order to release that trapped emotion, you would normally start with a magnet. So he teaches you can grab any magnet from the fridge and swipe over the head from the governing meridian. So from here down the back 3 times. So for me, I don't use a magnet anymore. I actually use intention. So it's all about intention. So intention is to release that trapped emotion of worthless. And I would just release it like that.
Let it all out.
Feel it go.
I felt that leave you.
I did it. And I just go, did I just release the trapped emotion of worthless? Yep. So I've got a strong.
You sure did.
That's gone now. So
yeah,
that's as easy it is to release a trapped emotion. And if you release at least 1 trapped emotion a day, then you will less and less feel that emotion daily.
And another thing too, now the reason why it's important to release these emotions is because they tend to get lodged in certain body parts. So for example, if you've got a sore foot, it's very likely you've got some trapped energies in your foot, and it could be an imbalance of a tendon or a bone, or it could actually be a bunch of trapped emotions as well. So my husband, being perfect guinea pig, who keeps breaking himself, there's a lot of stuff I dig out of him because he's got some old traumas. Like he used to be a policeman, so, you know, and he had a pretty horrific marriage as well prior to meeting me, and I'm perfect. So, yeah, so digging that sort of stuff out. So, you know, you might think that you're over something, but it could be that there is something deep, deep down inside you that you've been literally hiding within your energy for years and years and years that's just waiting to get out. And we're all like a bunch of onions. So as we peel off one layer, more stuff comes out, as Jen in particular knows. With the stuff we've dug out of her.
Can of worms. Like a can of worms sometimes.
So you'll peel one layer off, and we give, you know, it's almost like going through surgery, but you're not actually being cut open, right? So the energy is removed, and it does leave a bit of a gap in your energy field. So you need time to process and for that energy to sort of go back to the way it was before. But what will often happen is after a while, something else will come up that's ready to be released. And so we go through the process again. So, you know, everyone's different. Someone, like I had one client come to me with some more emotional type issues that she wanted to work through. And as I was working on her, I was taken to her girdle meridian. So it's a meridian that sort of goes around the hip area, down through the back and down through the legs, or I think that's where it goes. And I said, if you had any back issues, she says, oh, yeah. So I released it and cleared it and released any trapped emotions that were linked into that girdle meridian. And what actually happened was, I've got someone at the door. I'm going to talk to you while I do this. So what actually happened is the week after, I spoke to her again, and she said, well, thank you. Pop it down. Thanks.
Need to grab your
Michelle.
Michelle?
Yep.
Initial for your last name?
M. Oh, D, sorry.
D?
D, yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. The joys of a life when you're home alone. And look at my green wall. So what actually happened was a week after I did that, she contacted me and said, I've just got to tell you about my back. And I said, oh. She said, well, prior to that session, even though we weren't working on it, she said, now you've also asked a question about anxiety, about, so the thing with,
I lost you. I lost you
yeah,
guys.
and I lost you too. But I just waffled on. It's fine. I think is everyone still
Okay.
around? I think we're still
I
going.
think so, but there was a question. So did you see another question? There was a question. What
There was,
made? Oh, did I miss
well,
one
first,
before that?
Pineapple MP had a question about kids' anxiety as we reconnect into the
Oh,
community that want to stay isolated. Now, I get that because, to be honest, even though we've not really been locked down in Queensland, I'd be more than happy just to stay home forever. And I think for a lot of people too, it's when you're feeling anxious, you're actually not present. So you're thinking of something in the future or the past. So the important thing, I guess, when you're dealing with kids as well, is get them just to stop and just take a few deep breaths and just get present with themselves, and that will usually calm them down. And it might be worth getting them out, like baby steps. Just take them to the park where there's not so many people, like just gradually get them out amongst society, I guess. I don't know. What do you think, Jen? Or it could be that there could be
it's
just some
about mood.
anxiety and removing any trapped emotions around that.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you're anxious, you're not present. So the only way to become present is by moving. And what I have done in the past is I tend to jump up and down, move around, go for a walk, go hug a
Great
tree,
advice.
go stand in the grass, and shift that focus by shifting, just doing something different than what you're doing. Cold showers are as a way to. Michelle doesn't do cold showers.
I'm drawing the
Michelle
line on that one. I don't do cold anything.
Yeah, it's where you focus is where it goes, right? Energy. So it's about moving, shifting,
Yep.
and
Okay.
shifting that thought. There was what made you do what you're doing right now, and how did you end up with the path you're on right now? Do you want to go first?
Okay, so yeah, for me, I mentioned it a bit earlier. I think you might have come in a bit later. So I went to a psychic who told me I was a healer and kept insisting that I was, and I kept saying, no, I'm not. And then I thought, maybe he's just saying that because I'm a coach, and coaches help people, right? They help people heal by helping them to think differently. So I thought, well, maybe that's what he's referring to. And I didn't think anything of it. And then because Facebook does not eavesdrop, I had an ad pop up on my Facebook feed for an energy healing workshop. and I thought, that's a bit of a coincidence. So I thought, I'm going to reach out to this guy, because the guy that was actually running the course is one of my Facebook friends. So he and I run in the same sort of circle. So I reached out to him and just sort of asked him what it was all about. And I said, is it like Reiki? And he said, no, it's quite a bit different to that. But he sort of explained it and actually offered me some advice and help. And I thought, wow, this guy seems pretty cool. So I was really intrigued. So I decided to book in. It was a weekend workshop, and I attended the first part of the session. So we did one evening and then 2 full days. And I just knew. I was just like, this is it. So I just knew that this was my path. I don't know why I knew, I just did. It just felt right. And I was just pumped, and like Jen can vouch for the fact that I was a bit, at the time about it. So, and that's basically, and it's sort of morphed from there. So I'm not just doing what he taught me. I'm also doing emotion code, body code, and a couple of other bits and pieces. I'm a little more tapping into my intuition now. So that skill, I guess, has been growing the more I practice it. So that's me, really. So what about you, Jen?
For me, I guess I was in a very, very dark hole a couple of years ago. I had all aspects of my life in a bit of a shambles. I was going through a separation with my ex-husband, property settlement, and I had planned to go overseas for 3 months on a trip of a lifetime to escape my world, to tick off some bucket lists, and that was shortly lived when I ended up with an ingrown hair on my back, which was close to my spine. And at the time, I thought it was just a knock in the back because I'd been on back of the motorbike in Paris, and it turns out a few days later, when we got to Berlin, the day before my tour to Tomorrowland, the greatest, biggest festival in the world, I had what they told me was an ingrown hair that which turned into an abscess. Long story short, I ended up having 2 lots of surgeries. Plus it got infected, and I was a daily trip to the hospital in Prague. So from Berlin, Prague, and then another city. So I was essentially left recovering in Wales with my family for about a month. Came home, and from an energetic perspective, an abscess is a built-up of anger, rage, and resentment, which I severely had for my ex-husband. I actually hated his guts. And so that kind of led me on a path of understanding that there was a lot of rage and a lot of built up of negative emotions that I was unaware of. And, you know, coming from childhood, my family, it's all related. And the suppression of negative and positive emotions, because when you suppress negative, you also suppress positive. So, yeah. That was, and I guess I needed a distraction. And I started working with the book back in October 2 years ago. I started reading the book, and I would, learn how to muscle test. And then I was like, I was a people pleaser. I wanted to help everyone. So, oh, you've got that issue? Let me fix it for you. Let me fix that for you. Oh, I can do this. I can do it. And so it gave me a purpose. It gave me something to look forward to see somebody else shine, and the more and more I understood it, the more I got more like I was not expecting what was coming next, sort of thing, because I learned that I was an empath, and I didn't even know what an empath was. And an empath is someone who can absorb and pick up other people's emotions. And it wasn't until I started releasing my own emotions that I started picking up somebody else's. And I'm like, what's that? And I'd feel this anxiety all of a sudden. And I'm sitting there going, is that mine? That's not mine. Go back. That's not mine. And some weird and wonderful random events have occurred in the last couple of years. And Michelle has been, has been through the whole thing. We won't go into that detail, but I guess for me it was a purpose, and I went, I love this stuff. This is exciting. It's actually helping, and I don't need to take medication. I don't need to take antidepressants. I don't need to take anything, because essentially it's actually natural, and I don't need to pay somebody to do it for me. So that was a big thing for me. And I guess the guidance, as you said, remember that time, I just finished emotion code. So I finished that within like 2 months. I had to work on 26 humans and 4 animals. And there was a day, I got Reiki for the first time around that time. And I had a Reiki healer do a session with me. And I was like, well, what is this? This is really cool, weird. And I used to say weird. I no longer say that weird word. It's interesting. And then one day I went, oh, I wonder if maybe I need to become a Reiki healer. And that weekend there was a way, I muscle tested. I muscle tested 3 names on a screen, and the one that I muscle tested had a course that weekend. So I literally started that process and completed my Reiki. It takes about 8 months to complete Reiki. So I'm a fully qualified, I can teach and attune people into Reiki. But the combination of Reiki and emotion code, body code, and other avenues and coaching and, doing NLP and combining all of that into one, it just progresses a person in an accelerated way, which is just incredible. Like to get where I've gotten in the last couple of years, I would never expected to feel the way I do. And it's always a work in progress.
Absolutely.
But I get much more joy out of seeing somebody, tell me, oh my God, like I felt so good today. Like I have a client who has suppressed all emotions, and you don't know what's going under the hood of anyone. You can only see what's going on the outside, and it's our perception that somebody looks good, somebody's happy, somebody's sad, but ultimately we don't know what they're going through. And for him, he's gone from having no emotions to lots of emotion. He goes, I love myself today. I'm like, that's amazing. And that's where we all want to get to, right? We all want to get to that feeling of contentment within ourselves, so we don't seek it outside of ourselves.
Exactly. Okay.
We all want to be loved, and we all want to be enough.
Absolutely, we do. Okay, so I need a session with you, Michelle. Jody, we will talk. She and I are due to catch up. We'll be on due.
I'm sorry. I'm just
young Jody. Processing time, does that vary from person to person, or even for the same person on different days with different emotions? Yeah, I think I sort of touched on that before. That and I experienced this with Jen in particular, because sometimes we'll release something and it's like, pooh, off it goes, and then other times it's like I can actually tap when I'm tapped into Jen's energy. I can feel. And even some other clients as well, like I can feel the energy leaving, and her energy is quite stubborn. It's hard to believe, but true. So,
no.
And I can feel it going,
and yes,
it's almost like someone's trying to pull it out like as hard as they can. So it's actually quite funny. But yeah, and again, processing times can vary as well. And we often muscle test to see how long that person will need to process before they're ready for another session.
Yeah, and it can be anywhere from a day to, I've had 6 days before. But yeah, I'm just on another note. It just shows that I do also go to a coach / energy healer to help with my shit, because sometimes the shit that I need to pull out, I can't do myself.
Oh,
I am
I also get help from others as well, and she is stubborn. But so am I. So we're looking in the mirror there. And actually, mirrors are an important topic that we should talk about one day too, because often if you're pointing the finger and judging someone about something, there is very likely an aspect of that person in you. It's hard to believe, but true. So very, very important. Surprised exactly. Not, and Pineapple MP says, I'm surprised that there aren't more abscesses in the world. Tell me about it. Okay. Oh, you got a nice thing from Pineapple. So working with you is one of my best decisions.
Yeah.
Go Jan.
That's Louise.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Louise. You're amazing. Well,
there we go.
Yeah, we've this is well and truly.
What is this? Love it.
I'm also determined too, right?
Absolutely, which is
not
a bad thing.
Form of determination. Well, I think we really went way over the time.
We definitely overstayed our welcome.
As I said, this was more just like a preliminary to see, one, if this works, and two, just to put out there that we will be going live every week from next week at 4:00 Brisbane Australian Eastern Standard Time. You guys figure out the time. I have no idea, but we will we'll post some
about half an hour before now. There you go.
And we'll be asking for topics if you're interested, and otherwise we will come up with something, and you can ask us questions, and maybe bring somebody on to work on them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So if anyone wants to volunteer, they need to.
For next
they
week.
Could just reach out to one of us with details of an issue they want us to help them with. That would be awesome.
Yep. Perfect. Oh, Perth 2 p.m. Thank you, Louise. You're amazing.
Oh,
anyway, well, amazing. High five to you, Michelle. Thank you.
Awesome.
Everyone who's joined us and stayed with us. We will see you next week. Stay classy.
Bye.
Bye. How do I stop this now?
I have no idea. Oh, leave. Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Okay, how do I save it?
I don't know.
Ooh, Philippines 2 p.m, Adelaide 4:30 p.m, and New Zealand 7 p.m. And I think Belle is on there. Belle, what time will it be in your country?